Hey guys, welcome to Massive Iron Live. I'm Steve Shaw. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are doing well. Appreciate you tuning in. We will be here. I will be here. I don't know if Robert's going to show up. Robert has disappeared, but I'll be here for up to 2 hours. If you have any questions, drop them in. Let me know how things are going for you, where you're from, where you're tuning in from. Let me adjust my camera here. I think we got Robert on the Robert's a little bit late. We will expect a fine from team management in your inbox. Robert, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I was scurrying about trying to do one or two other things, doing some meal prep stuff, and I looked up and I went, "Oh shit!" I was doing stuff went by a lot faster than I thought. So we're here. We're fabulous. We're fit. We're fantastic. We're ready to rock. It's Friday.
All right. Good to hear. Guys, just a heads up, we'll be on for about 2 hours. Post up your questions on anything, diet, training, supplement, nutrition. Off topic is welcome. Movies are always welcome. If we miss your questions, number one, consider reducing the length of the question. Sometimes if a question's too long, YouTube will have a fit. And if we miss your question, sometimes it's just a system. So email me, benthebarman@gmail.com, or head over to Instagram @benthebarman. Or if you have a question for Robert, you can hit him up at the Supplement Engineer. Now, before we get rolling, again, let me know where you guys are from. YouTube looks a little bit slow today to notify people that we're actually here. But we do have a Massive Iron Insider available that involves a private forum. On the private forum, you get member-only articles from Robert, myself. You get master classes. You get access to me and Robert so you can ask us questions. Notification that I'm live from YouTube. And you also get access to my app, and all my insiders I talk to them nearly every single day. So that is only $24.99. If you're interested in the insider, check out the link above my head. All right, before we get started, the question of the day is always, who is this guy?
The guy that shows up late to these lives, apparently.
Who are you, Robert?
My name is Robert Chinetsky. I am a former mechanical engineer. I'm a writer, researcher, formulator for sports supplement companies, and I do a little bit of coaching on the side for nutrition and fitness. That's everything in a nutshell. And I host a couple of podcasts too. I guess I should throw that in there. The Supplement Engineer podcast and The Final Scoop, both of which can be found on iTunes and all other podcast platforms and YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. The Final Scoop's on Saturday mornings or Saturdays, correct?
Yeah, 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern.
I am usually working when you guys kick in, and it pisses me off every week because YouTube won't let me comment. Apparently, I'm blocked on YouTube. I don't know, but
strange.
Yeah. Well, I have so many secret YouTube troll accounts. When I'm trolling, other prominent YouTubers. So, Robert whipping out his French press in public.
There we go. Need to get the day started correct. Well, this is decaf though, so it's I've got my pre-workout sitting right here, which I'll be drinking that throughout the show. But we're gonna have some decaf coffee right now because it's cold here in Austin.
So, Robert, before we get started, I love westerns, and there's a new western out by Tom Hanks. What is it? Tom Hanks western. What's the name of the movie? I can't even remember it. I just watched it last night. What is it? News of the World. All right, so it's Tom Hanks and this Indian girl and whatever, and they're going from point A to point B, a typical western. It's one of the early release movies because nobody's going to theaters. They put it on digital, and I sucked it up and paid $19.99 to rent it. And about 30 minutes in, I wanted my $19.99 back because it's very boring. Tom Hanks doesn't come off very well. He's better off being Mr. Rogers and not doing too well as Mr. Wild West. So you seen any good movies this week or anything of note?
I went back and rewatched the original RoboCop yesterday, the 1987 one. I've been on kind of like an older movie kick lately, nothing new. I've I watched some Bruce Willis movie from a couple years back, Round 44, where it almost has like a Pulp Fiction kind of vibe to it, but it comes off as a lower, less successful version of a Pulp Fiction remake or a wannabe, because they do everything like kind of backwards and interspersed, and they had this they're trying to be very catchy and clever in the opening diner room scene where they're having this conversation back, very similar to what they did in the beginning of Pulp Fiction. It's okay. It was all right. It was good for a way for me to unplug my brain from the day for a little bit.
You know, Bruce Willis makes some odd movie choices. There's a new space movie out with Bruce Willis, and I can't remember what it is. And I don't know. It's Breach, maybe Breach. Is that
Blast Off or Die Hard? Is that what it is?
No, it's Breach. It's a movie called Breach, and it. Usually a space movie, I'll run, if you cut off my legs and I just have bloody stumps, I'll run on those to watch the movie. But I haven't ventured into Breach Land yet because it looks absolutely awful.
Have you watched The Expanse? It's a sci-fi series on Amazon Prime. I've watched the first 3 seasons. I think they're up to 5 now. I thought it was interesting in the beginning, and then the 3rd season kind of I felt it jumped the shark politically because like sci-fi stuff always kind of has like social commentary or political stuff within it, but it's usually more sophisticatedly done. The Expanse, like season 3, there's this one spot where this blonde girl starts giving this political speech, and I mean, they just go full in on like the agenda pushing that they're doing there. So I haven't gone back and watched season 4 and 5. I'm wondering if they righted the ship and, set a better course and got back to being a little bit better, but we will see.
No, I haven't seen it yet. I've been trying to weed out political stuff out of my life. I just deactivated Facebook, and I don't want anybody to get the wrong message. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I'm not specifically a Trump supporter. But I deactivated Facebook just because big tech's getting a little bit intrusive, and Facebook is just getting tedious for me. So we're only appearing now on YouTube. And I deleted Twitter. I've hated Twitter for 12 years. I've never been active on Twitter. I've always just kept the Twitter. So I just kicked that to the curb as well. Let's see what we got, Robert. We got Stein from Norway. Thanks for tuning in from Norway. Hope all is well. Scotty Mack, how are you guys doing? I started flexibility training because I wanted to kickbox again. Could do a virtual spar with Robert.
Loser's got to buy the whiskey afterwards.
Yeah, we have virtual running. We need virtual MMA fights now. I'd like to see how those go.
There we go.
I just punched you in the jaw, Roberts. How are you? It's like roll D6 and versus your initiative, and let's see how you're doing. And Jim Rat in West Chicago, Illinois, I wanted to be somewhere else, just finishing up workout with trap bar walks. I wish I had more space to do some of that here. I got an alleyway right here, but people plow through that like crazy, so I'm afraid I'd get hit. What do we got? Greg Duvier, Fargo, North Dakota. My gym on Monday will no longer take temperature. Wow, amazing. What an amazing step forward. And no more 1-hour closing for deep cleaning. I don't know about you and all this kind of nonsense aside, but when I walk into the grocery store in Ohio, they have a whole section of cleansing products and wipes and goops and all this kind of stuff. And everything smells like, they might as well just hose you down walking into the store. I get so tired of that smell and having it on my body. All right, Priscilla. Would you say if you did not lose body fat but increase their muscle mass, would their body fat be lower? Yes. If yes, how would the physique look different? Think about this, okay? Think about you have a balloon. And on top of that balloon, you have a 1 pound of fat wrapped around the balloon. If the balloon expands, you still have 1 pound of fat, but the fat will decrease because you have more balloon surface area. So it is possible when you build muscle mass to look leaner than you are. I'm a very good example of this. because for a long time, I posted my pictures and I was vascular and looked muscular, and people thought I was about 13% body fat, and I was really around 20% body fat. So 2 variables, Roberts, in body fat percentage. They are what, Robert?
In body fat percentage, what do you mean?
2 variables, lean body mass and pounds of body fat.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at changing your energy, either lose fat or build muscle.
Yeah. No, we should say that anytime you build muscle, there's going to be a marginal increase in body fat, because whenever we're building muscle, we're putting our body in a surplus. As much as we would try to optimize things to build just pure muscle mass, the body's not that simple. You're going to have still marginal and very minimal amounts of fat gain, and the degree to which you increase your calorie intake will be concomitant rise in body fat. So if you're doing like mega bulk, like people used to advocate in the 90s and early 2000s, you're going to build a lot more fat in addition to the muscle you're building. But if you're using like a smaller calorie surplus, like a lean bulk approach, you'll minimize how much fat you gain, although you still will be gaining a little bit of fat there.
All right, what do we got here? Keep Happy says thank you. Thanks for joining us, tuning in. I got to tell you, I'm sleepy as heck. I'm in a downtown area, and it's usually pretty quiet. But there's an apartment that way, and the stoners were having a party, and they were outside last night at 10:30. So I was out there telling them to kick rocks. And then they started turning up the noise at about 12:30. So if I look like I have a little bit of bags under my eyes, I'm a little bit tired today. All right, try my new air fryer for the first time while listening to your live. I get a lot of inquiries for air fryer recipes, and I don't use an air fryer. I just don't. I'm not against them. I have nothing against them. I just have my old school ways, and I don't find it challenging myself to cook healthy without an air fryer. How about you, Robert? Do you guys own one?
We have one, but I mean, it's not like the little black orb looking things like the first came out. It's really just like a tabletop convection oven. That's all it is. That's all an air fryer is. It's got a fan in it, and it heats it. And when the air is circulating, that's cooking it by convection. So that's how it's air frying things. And the more oil you spray on it or coat it in, that gives that's simulating the effects of it being deep fried. Now, does it taste exactly like deep fried food does? No. But I just use it instead of heating up the house with my oven every day or every other day. It's great for doing roasting small batches of vegetables. So like I can roast 3 days of vegetables for dinner at a time in that thing without having to heat up the entire house, or do 3 or 4 chicken breasts at a time. That'll last me for 4 or 5 days or whatnot. So I use it in that way. Unless I'm doing, I still cook on the stovetop when I'm making enchiladas, stews, soups, all those kind of things.
So, you mentioned roasted vegetables. Those of you guys out there that don't roast vegetables, you're really missing a really easy way to kick up and add some flavor to your meals other than just boring. One thing that triggers me is when I see somebody's meal and I see like 3 stalks of broccoli next to their rice and their chicken breast. Roasting vegetables, what we typically do is we'll take like potatoes, zucchini, onion, we'll dice it up, we'll toss it in just a little bit of light olive oil, salt, pepper, thyme, and toss it in the oven. The flavor with just salt, pepper, and thyme really just makes everything in the house smell wonderful, and it's a good accompaniment to pretty much any protein. Are there any roasted vegetables that are your go-to, Robert?
I do damn near everything. In my dinner conglomeration at night, I've got roasted bell peppers, roasted tomatoes, roasted zucchini, roasted mushrooms, roasted carrots. For lunch, I usually just microwave broccoli and green beans. It's just easier that way. And I don't really care if those are nuked or roasted. Grilling vegetables, I love asparagus grilled. Those are like sweet potato planks. You can never do those on the grill. Those are freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, I love asparagus. I've not tried the sweet potatoes on the grill, so I'll have to give that a...
In a little like quarter, half-inch rounds. Dust them with a little olive oil or canola oil, whatever kind of oil you want to use. Preferably not olive oil, because it's got a relatively low smoke point, and heating it to the high heat that you do need to on the grill can cause some oxidation of those fats and kind of take away some of the beneficial aspects of what olive oil is. And it's just wasting good olive oil if you're paying a premium for the good stuff.
What do we got here? Fresno Cali Fitness. Thanks for tuning in. Modern Stoic from Morocco. Appreciate you tuning in. Hope everybody's doing well. Cristobal. I took a week off as a natural. I felt stronger and more full. I've been thinking about taking a week off every 8th week or deload week. This is one thing Robert and I have discussed previously, and it's something that I'm evolving my opinion on over time, learning from running, and that is once you kind of reach the intermediate stages of lifting, it's probably a good idea to have a down week. I hate to say a deload week, a down week every 4, 6, 8 weeks, just to give the body some recovery time.
Yep.
And to give yourself some, just a mental break. So there's really no harm in doing it. Do you take deload weeks, Robert, or do you just kind of let life happen?
I'm very type A personality. I like my structure. I like my schedule. It basically comes to the point, like I've tried doing every 4th week off or every 6th week off and like having a planned deload. But then, if I'm feeling great on that 5th or 6th week, fuck it, I'm going to push through and just keep training. So basically what happens is more of like a reactive approach to it, where if I go in, like last Friday was a good instance. After we got off our live, I went to go do my leg workout, and everything felt off. Like even just like my warm-up sets on Bulgarians, just holding 25s for a warm-up, which is nothing, which would be like akin to doing like a barbell squat with just the bar across your back for your warm. Like that even felt heavy. And so, I tried to go up to, step my way up, did the 35s to 45, and was working my way up to my working sets. And it just, nothing was jiving right. Then I tried to do some reverse lunges, did the sissy squats. Everything was feeling fucking heavy as hell. And I just said, screw it. And so that was kind of like every time, if something feels way too difficult for what it should be compared to how it does previous weeks, that's kind of when I just say, all right, we've been grinding this long enough. Let's take a day off. I'll just go on a walk or something like that. So it's more muscle group dependent. It's not necessarily taking an entire week off unless I'm feeling like super run down, just systemically across the body, or it's been a super stressful week of work or whatever, life circumstances. Then I might take a deload, but I don't take an entire week off. I don't like doing that. Just me personally, I get antsy. I like to be training more days than not. And so it'll be if I'll deload a body part. So if my back is really sore, I'll skip my back workout for that day, and then try again 3 or 4 days later and see how that is to give it extra time to recover.
I've always been against planned deloads for the most part, and anybody that's watched this channel over the years knows that. I got so many clients right now that are sick. They're picking up seasonal crap, colds or whatever, sniffles, and when I've learned sometimes when I go into the gym and my CNS just isn't there, or sometimes you just have to shut down a workout because your hamstring feels off. I let things kind of happen naturally. I take my time away from the vacation if we're doing a getaway weekend or whatever, if I'm sick, or if I just need a mental break. I find it better to schedule them intuitively day by day rather than just blocking off a week. With that said, if you are on a roll as an intermediate lifter, there's no reason you can't take every 4, 6, 8th week as a slightly down week. In running, my down weeks are on Saturday. I only run 2.5 hours, so they're not exactly. Don't mix up a deload week with a fuck off week, because a deload week, usually for me, what I recommend if you're going to plan it is drop a set from every exercise and drop the weight maybe 20%, so you're not completely just screwing off. If you want to screw off, there's really no reason to go into the gym, but you just want to make a slight adjustment. What do we got here? We got the whole gang here. We got awesome. David from Spain.
We played a song in marching band. It was one of our openers. It was called Malaga back in Tiger Band days. It was good stuff.
Not seen that word before. Not sure if that's a city or we got Greenland. I'm assuming that's Greenland. And what's up, Cashflow? Cashflow follows me on Instagram. Always check out his posts. Shout out from Cleveland.
I like that headshot, man. That's a good looking headshot.
Almost as good looking as Robert. Have you guys watched Parasite? Now, I got to tell you, this individual is a client of mine, one of my hardest workers, absolutely one of my hardest workers. She has made amazing progress and has an incredible attention to detail. And on top of that, she does video game development for Monster Hunter. So how cool is her life? Have you guys watched Parasite yet? I have not. It's a South Korean black comedy film, correct?
Yes, I watched it. How long ago? September, October. I think I watched it. I liked it. It's very engaging, very, very cool. I thought there was a little bit of a slowdown towards like the 2/3 mark to the end, but the first hour and a half of it is really, really engaging. It's got a good pacing, the plot and the development of everything. And then I feel like it kind of hits like a plateau for a while, and then the ending is just kind of but I mean, like the final part of it is really good. But there's a spot where they probably could have trimmed, I thought, 20 minutes of it towards the latter quarter part of the film.
I watched what in the heck was that movie? Survival. What was it? I watched a very unique movie this week, and I can't remember out. I think it was Survival. Maybe it was Survival. I don't know. There's so many if you search Survival, good luck finding it. There was a movie where this guy's like post-apocalyptic type of stuff. And this guy's in the cabin in the woods, and it's kind of like Mad Max, a little bit of horror, a little bit bizarre, but it was worth watching. If I can actually find it, I'll let you guys know. DC, Heavenly Bodies Cummings, what's going on? Hey, bro, love your channel. Appreciate it. I'm an advanced lifter, and I'm thinking about changing my routine. I'm 49 years old, and I have 4 days a week to train. What's your best method? If you are older, I would probably recommend just sticking with the body part split and not doing the frequency thing, giving yourself a little bit of extra rest per day. One of my favorite training methods is the Power Muscle Burn or Power Muscle Block. Power Muscle Burn is available on Muscle and Strength. You can search that on Google, and that is free. I also have a more updated version on my website above my head, Power Muscle Block. Excuse me, I have the Rona. Power Muscle Block is, I believe, $9.99. And I like that system because you start out kind of heavy, and then you do a little volume on your follow-up exercises, and then you do burner block sets. So it's kind of got a good mix of everything. It's what basically the structure I built all my muscle on, most of my muscle, and I just really, really enjoy that style. You do heavy, you do volume, you do pump work, and boom. So it's usually pretty fun. The block sets or burn sets, they're torture. Right now, I have a lot of my clients, I'm programming a dips and push-ups superset into the mix. And I think when they get their workout, they're like, what is this guy doing? This doesn't look that bad, but it's actually the hardest part of I would argue it's the hardest part of the workout. So,
you know what I've been finding, interestingly enough, since we're on the topic of the power muscle block and rest pause stuff like that. This is what I've been doing. Have you noticed this, Steve? Like certain muscle groups, I do not like to train straight sets with certain muscle groups, and I would much rather do like a rest pause system or a block training system or the bulldozer training. That's what I did. I've been doing lately for chest, shoulders, and triceps is a bulldozer training approach. And for like pushing for pulling muscles, rows, pull-ups, I'm fine doing straight sets or doing like a tri-set of like pull-ups in inverted rows into like rear delt flies or something like that. But man, when it comes to any pushing muscles, I freaking hate the standard, like do a set, rest 2 to 3 minutes. I either want to do kind of like a tri-set or do like a rest pause to just get it over and done with. I don't know if it's just because maybe those are like my weaker muscle groups, but legs, I'm fine doing straight sets. I'm fine doing supersets with that. Back, I can train any which way. But push muscles, I hate the regular just 4 sets of bench, 4 sets of incline, 3 sets of shoulder presses, 2 sets of laterals. I hate that. It's got to be block training or nothing, or else it's a piss poor workout.
Well, I'm odd you mentioned it. I mean, over the years, like in my personal training, when I'm doing pressing work, I usually get creative. I've done the 5, 10, 20 workouts on bench press. It's not always, I don't always go to rest pause or block training, but I do always find I'm mixing things up or doing crazy schemes. Like I do a bulldozer lateral and a superset with dumbbell upright rows. And when I do high pulls, I'm doing like 40s rest pause style. I get really like shoulders have a limited number of exercises. I hate programming shoulders because you have a dumbbell press, you have a barbell press, and then if you might have a machine press if you're in a gym. Then you got like side laterals, and then you have upright rows, which kind of suck. Even if you do them right, they just they're a tweener exercise. I never feel.
Yeah, and I feel them like more like in where the bicep goes into where the bicep tendon attaches. I always feel them more in there than my actual like side delts or anything.
The only way I feel upright rows is when I'm doing them, I drive my elbows up instead of pulling on the bar. But even then, I have to do a lot of volume or rest pause or supersetting them just to get anything out of them. So I don't know. I'm with you on the presses. I usually need to get creative just to stay engaged.
Yeah, I almost prefer body weight for like dips, pike presses, handstand push-ups against a wall. I would almost prefer doing those than like the weighted exercises for whatever reason. I don't know.
What do we got here? Park. Robert, could you explain, when you explain supplements, could you explain in more detail about why the ingredients you're talking about can be useful?
Sure. Give me an ingredient and we can go into the mechanisms of action. I try to keep that to a minimum sometimes just because a lot of people don't really care about the MOA. They just want to know what in the world the thing does, like what's the end result, what's the therapeutic effect or the beneficial effects of it. But yeah, if you got a certain ingredient you want me to talk about, Park, put it up and I'll go down the wormhole. I'd be happy to.
All right, what do we got here? And you guys, if you have supplement questions, now's the time to dump them in the queue. Robert is one of the top supplement experts in the industry. He's definitely in the top 2.3, maybe 2.31. So something like that. Sam, can I do a 5-day upper lower push pull leg split since I'm 21 years old? Upper lower push pull leg, that's two different things. What am I missing here, Robert?
He's doing a 5-day split. So first day's upper, then lower workout rest, and then push pull legs. So yeah.
Let me work out the calculus in my head here. Push pull legs, and then your upper is I would do push pull legs, and then upper being pressing, and arms, and then lower being back and legs. Does that make sense? So you have the push day, which is your chest, shoulders, triceps. You have the pull day, which is back and bicepticons. Then you have legs. Then I would take a rest day, and I would do upper, I would do upper my way. Chest, shoulders, and tricepticons, and then lower legs and back, and then rest. How's that sound? You can do it. You can do really anything as long as the structure is okay. So if you want to slap together a workout and send it my way, I'll take a look at it. Greg Duvier says the Expanse is awesome. We're trying to get caught up on some of the TV shows slowly. I think we watched Dickensian, the Dickinson show where all the Dickinson characters are in. Before that, we watched, what was a Frankenstein TV show that was on for 3 seasons? That was freaking awesome. I don't know why they canceled that. That was a good show. But
Cobra Kai, if you like the Karate Kid, I've enjoyed. There's a little bit too much teenage drama in Cobra Kai. I mean, for me, I like more the focus on Johnny and Danielson. But that was pretty good. I enjoyed that. But I'm a martial arts nerd and I'm a child of the 80s. So, yeah.
All right. So I think I found the movie. For the love of all things holy, I can't get it to load. 1 second. 1 second, guys. 1 second. Trying to do this is an odd one, but it's definitely worth watching. See if I can share the screen. This is called the Survivalist. And it's kind of, I hesitate to call it Mad Max in the woods, but it kind of is. And it's got a lot of, two women wander upon him, and there's people just hunting after everybody for food, right? And this guy's got a garden, and it's really, really strange. Lots of token nudity in here and things like that. Just really weird movie, but it's memorable. And when I look at films, one of the things I ask myself, was that memorable or will I forget it? And this is definitely a memorable film. So, speaking of memorable films, Roberts, have you seen Lighthouse with Defoe?
No, I saw that you posted about that in the Super Living forums yesterday or the day before, and I've heard it's kind of good for like a thriller horror movie, but I never saw it. No.
It is one of the most memorable films you'll watch, and it has a lot of weaknesses in the film, but from a filmmaking standpoint, the acting is absolutely brilliant. There's some strange druggo Hollywood stuff in there, but from a piece of art, it's definitely worth watching. Just as a case study in filmmaking, the script has weak points and there's some odd things in it, but these two guys just do a lights out job of acting with what they're given in the script. So
interesting.
Very strange. Defoe is just a juggernaut in that movie. Absolutely brilliant. What do we got here? And somebody's going to watch it and regret watching it, but it's one of those movies. You might love it, you hate it, but you're going to remember. It's like that one time you went out on a date with a transvestite and you didn't know it was a transvestite. You're enjoying yourself. No, it's just humor, kids. It's humor. You remember what humor is? All right, Robert, I get side effects from alpha brain, skin twitching, and muscle spasms. Why? Go.
That's what happens anytime you use a prop blend. No, I don't really know. I pulled up the ingredients.
What is Alpha Brain a product?
Yeah, it's a nootropic made by Onnit, so the fitness company, or Joe Rogan's partnership company. What's the issues that they having? Twitching and muscle spasms. Okay, so here's the ingredient list. We got an Onnit Flow blend, 650 milligrams of tyrosine, theanine, oat straw, and phosphatidylserine. Do you want me to share the screen, Steve?
Yeah, if you can.
Okay. All right. So we got that here. The Onnit Flow blend. FYI, the cognitive benefits of tyrosine usually start around 2,000 milligrams. So I mean, you can make the argument. Some people try to make the argument, hey, if we don't know how these things all work together in combination, so technically you can get by with a little bit less. You could do a little bit more. I don't follow that train of thought. We've got a research-backed dose on tyrosine, 2,000 milligrams. At a minimum, I like to see 1,000 milligrams here. Theanine is a calming amino acid that stimulates GABA receptors and dopamine receptors in the brain. Kind of helps calm you down. People often pair theanine with caffeine to kind of take the edge off, especially if they feel jittery or anxious with caffeine. It kind of harnesses the energy boosting effects and provides a more refined focus. Oat straw is another calming ingredient. Not seen as often, but again, we're looking at pixie dusted amounts here of oat straw. Phosphatidylserine, you need a minimum of 800 milligrams to 1,600 milligrams to get the anti-stress and anti-anxiety benefits of phosphatidylserine. So again, we are way underdosed on that. Cat's Claw's got some neuroprotective benefits due to it being containing a bunch of antioxidants and polyphenols in it. Alpha GPC. So most doses on alpha GPC are anywhere between 300 to 1,000 milligrams. So we've got 240 here. Bacopa monieri is one of my favorite nootropics just for overall brain health, mental performance, memory, cognition. Stimulates acetylcholine receptors in the brain, which is the learning neurotransmitter. It's also got some dopaminergic properties as well, and helps boost serotonin levels and GABA levels. So it just kind of, it modulates all the major neurotransmitters of the brain to kind of create this happy equilibrium to put you at. If I had to guess why you're feeling kind of wonky, it is this tooth club moss, the huperzine, standardized to 400 micrograms. So that is a massive dose. The highest dose studied, from what I've read, is 500 micrograms, and that was used in Alzheimer's patients. Typically, I don't recommend people take any higher than 200 micrograms on a given day. Plus, huperzine has a very long half-life, somewhere between like 16 to 20 hours, depending on which studies you're reading and how high of a dose you have as well. So that could be taking very high doses of huperzine, especially when it works in conjunction with alpha GPC, can lead to too much acetylcholine in the brain. So alpha GPC provides the building blocks to build acetylcholine. So it's providing the choline molecule right there, and it's also giving you some, the phosphoryl is some of the phospholipids that's going to be used to build up cell membranes in the body, especially with neurons and whatnot. But the alpha GPC, so you got the choline there, that's going to give you the building blocks to build more acetylcholine. And then where huperzine comes in is that it is a very strong acetylcholinesterase inhibitor. So acetylcholinesterase is the enzyme that breaks down acetylcholine. So by inhibiting the actions of that enzyme, you're going to have longer, higher sustained elevations of acetylcholine. The issue is that you're taking such a huge freaking dose of huperzine that I think you might just be suffering a choline overload, or acetylcholine overload in your brain there. And that's why you're getting some of the adverse effects, because this on-it fuel blend is dog shit here. Leucine is the essential amino acid in BCAA that stimulates muscle protein synthesis in the body. And pterostilbene is another antioxidant that's got some neuroprotective benefits. But the real workhorse here is going to be this 400 micrograms of huperzine plus however much of this, there's probably 150, I would guess, milligrams of maybe a 125, maybe 150 of alpha GPC in here. That is just way, I'm not a fan of giving healthy people that are not suffering from Alzheimer's 400 micrograms of huperzine in a single day, especially when this is intended to be something that's taken every day. I don't like that dose at all.
Well, thanks, Robert.
Yeah, I would take a half serving or buy a better nootropic.
What's the deal with the muscle spasms? Is that can't, is there anything, possible that could contributing to that? Is that a fringe reaction?
It could be that, but it's acetylcholine, in addition to being the learning neurotransmitter, so memory, cognition, focus, it's also released from the neuromuscular junction, and it plays a very important role in muscle contractions. It's the neurotransmitter that's most associated with the mind-muscle connection. So you're getting an overload on that. That could be why they're getting muscle spasms as well.
So I'm gonna take a pause here for a moment and share this. Over on Instagram, for those of you that don't follow me on Instagram at Ben the Barman. I posted, I'm going to start doing this every Friday when I get up. When I post the live video announcement, if you see, for those of you on Instagram, post a question up. And if I read your question off of this Instagram post on Massive Iron Live, I'm going to give you a free t-shirt. People are so used to seeing this, they just scroll by it and don't even read it because they assume it's the same bullshit every week. But as you can see, no one posted a question because they're just so used to the same crap on there. But just keep an eye out. You see that up and you post a question, I read it on here. I'm gonna hand out a t-shirt. So let me just get that off. That's for later because somebody had a question about the Bearded Beast of Duloc. All right, what do we got here? Shout out from Texas, real close to Robert. Word. Can we get this is a Bearded Beast of Duloc throwback? Yeah, we're gonna. For those of you that don't know, this is from February 10th, 2013, almost 8 years ago. This is video number 100 on my YouTube channel in the early days. Invite you guys with a few minutes of me eating bacon, if you don't mind. Let me just expand this thing. How do we expand it? There we go. Look at that sexy motherfucker right there. This is the Bearded Beast of Duloc. When I first started my channel, I called it the Bearded Beast of Duloc because Duloc is short for Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. That's where I'm from. And, who knows? It's just what I called myself.
Hey, guys, this is my 100th video. I just wanted to thank you guys for tuning into my channel and subscribing. I don't really have any words of what.
Here we go. Let's forward it.
So, guys,
I got a pack of bacon.
Video.
I think I ate a whole pack of bacon for my 100th video. It was pretty burnt. I left it in the oven too long.
Holy shit. Your voice seems higher than too, Steve. Like your voice seems like it's gotten deeper.
Yeah, I think it's all the cigars and stress. I don't know. It's all the HGH I take.
Diet soda. There you go. You're keeping it healthy though. You got the bacon and the diet soda. I like it.
That's the old school. I'm gonna give it a like while I'm at it. There we go. But that was back. You can tell by the length of the beard. The longer the beard is, the more unhealthy I was back in the day. That was the old chest twitching. Mark Lobliner reference. That's fucking hilarious because little did I know I'd end up being his best buddy in the world.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say, this is before your Tiger Fitness days.
Yeah, I never. Anyway, that's enough of that horseshit. I never expected to, back in those days, actually have a YouTube channel that would still be around. And people ask me a lot, your voice is deeper. And I don't know. I mean, public speaking, I don't know if it damages your voice or it's just aging or what, cigar smoking or stress or whatever, but
combination.
Definitely got deeper over the years, and I have no clue why. So what do we got here? I broke my arm, wrist, and hand last week. Will my forearm disappear in 6 weeks? No. I broke my wrist and my fingers in the military punching a concrete wall. Don't ask, don't tell. And my forearm did not disappear in 6 weeks. I think I had a cast on it for about the same period of time. So not really. Nothing to worry about. You won't pull that thing off and just see a bone with a couple of strands of muscle fibers. Dave is a massive Iron Insider. Roasted asparagus is great. Roast some broccoli with red onions and garlic. Red onions are one of my favorite ingredients. If I'm having pizza, red onions are on my pizza with jalapenos. Robert, what's your veggie go-to when it comes to pizza?
Vegetables don't belong on pizza, Steve. That's the first rule of pizza.
Look.
Kidding. Well, as a child, the only pizza I would really like was pepperoni or cheese pizza. As I've gotten older, pepperoni and jalapeno is still one of my favorites. But if I'm going like the Mediterranean route, because when we lived in Louisiana, we had this delicious pizza place that was run by this Turkish guy named Marat. Super nice guy. Would always bring us out like this plate of like boiling hot, steaming, delicious eggplant. The best thing I've ever had. And then he would make this Mediterranean pizza. It had roasted eggplant on it, red onions, feta cheese, like good like Greek or Turkish quality feta cheese that they would import, red onions, artichoke hearts, mushrooms. I think that was it, and a little bit of spinach, fresh spinach. So good. I'll eat anything. I just do not like supreme pizzas. I hate Italian sausage. I do not like it. Even like breakfast sausage, I don't like. I don't like Italian sausage. Don't put that shit on my pizza. End of rant.
We had a lot of that in Wisconsin growing up. When we have Marco's Pizza here, and they have Pizza Monday for 50% off. And a lot of times on Saturdays, if we're doing a 3-4 hour run, we'll do pizza. And I get red onion, jalapeno. Marco's has pepperoni and Old World pepperoni, so I do the tag team of both. Ooh. And then I get steak and bacon on there as well. So that's my pizza.
That's delicious.
Lots of pepperoni.
If I'm a purist and I like pepperoni by itself, pepperoni, jalapeno, yeah. I don't do the supreme pizzas again. I don't like sausage on my pizza. Like kielbasa, I'll eat. Chorizo, like the fresh chorizo that you get at Mexican restaurants, I really like. On Andouille, yeah, I really like that. I'm a New Orleans boy. I have to like that. But boudin, I don't like, which is rice stuffed sausage. It's gross. Sandy likes it. I don't. Italian sausage, not so much. Yeah, bratwursts, no.
Come on, bratwursts are the king.
Sorry.
All right. I always get thin crust because thin crust allows me to have a higher percentage of meat. Yep. And no disrespect to thick crust folks, but man, like Marco's, I always tip them like 25%. They know who I am because I get the same thing. After my runs, I get 6 wings and that same pizza. I get a medium pizza, and they stack the meat like 7 layers high on that son of a bitch because of how I tip. So, the more I tip, the more meat I get. Here, Stein, when dieting and weight loss stops, how would you wait before dropping calories? How long would you wait before dropping calories? Very complicated question. But if you're at a calorie level and you have not seen weight loss in a couple of weeks, then it's time to start experimenting a little bit. What I do experimentally depends on the individual. I might have them lower carbs and raise fats and protein. Some people respond to that. I will take a really close look at their cardio or movement, and sometimes a small addition of movement can really, really, even if it's an extra 20 minutes a week, can be kind of a tipping point to get things moving again. So those are the 2 things I do before dropping calories. Any thoughts or comments on that, Robert?
No, I mean, you basically hit all the points that I was going to say. Check your how consistent are you being with your nutrition? Not that I'm saying you're binging or having calories unaccounted for, but maybe you're having extra sodium in your diet and you're not drinking enough fluids one day, or you're having some water retention that's actually masking your weight loss, or you're stressed out and that can cause water retention too. So that may be masking some of the fat loss you're exhibiting. So maybe dial in those things, be a little bit more cognizant of how much salt you're adding to food, how many fluids you're drinking throughout the day and stuff like that.
Yeah, look, honestly, when you are coaching folks for a living, the first thing you're going to look at, and this has nothing to do with you specifically, Stein, but Robert brings up a good point. The first thing you're going to do is dive deep into consistency. For example, I'll have somebody that comes to me and says, I didn't lose weight this week, and they'll say my calories were good. Well, I'll look at their calories and I'll see they were good 6 out of 7 days. But on one day they had 3 glasses of cider and, and 10 boneless wings, which punched them up like, 1,200 calories for the week. So the first thing you really got to do is dive deep into consistency. If the consistency is there, then I dive deep into consistency of quality nutrition. If somebody's having, box pizza and Lucky Charms one day and then, something healthier the next day, I try to get them more consistent with good nutrition, more consistent with good nutrition. I try to do everything I can before dropping calories because the body's a very complex mechanism. And yes, it's calories in, calories out. But for some people, it's stop eating crap. And you're inconsistent and you need to move a little bit more, so on and so forth. So if you have some specific numbers for me to look at, I'd be happy to look at. What's going on, Daniel? Daniel's a client of mine. Dave is an insider. Leg day is happy day. The day after should be rest day.
Yeah.
It should be football day. What do you think about? Did you watch the football game, Robert? Did you watch Ohio State get crushed? And should they even have been in there?
No, I did not watch the game. My younger brother is an Alabama grad, so that always makes for fun during football seasons with the shit talk between us since I'm an LSU grad. No, I know that he sent me an email saying, hey, we're celebrating a national championship. So I went and looked up the score. But no, Ohio State played a truncated schedule. They didn't deserve to be in the top 4, top 10, whatever of college football. I didn't watch any football this year. I haven't watched any of the pro stuff, even though I know the Saints are in the playoffs. I don't need all the social justice warrior, political stances, all that other bullshit going on. Plus, I don't need to see coaches on the sidelines wearing masks when they're trying to coach plays. I think that's fucking retarded. Anyway, rant over. No, so I haven't watched any football this season, but I am aware that anytime Ohio State goes down, I'm very happy. There are some of the most arrogant sons of bitches across the country. Of any universities I've met, we met Ohio State. We played them once when we beat them for the national championship my last year at LSU. Some of the most arrogant people that I've ever been around. We met Oklahoma's band too. We met Notre Dame. Those are some other smug sons of bitches. Yeah. So no, anytime Ohio State, Notre Dame, all of them go down in a ball of fire, I'm a very happy man.
See, that's a good thing about being from Wisconsin. Like, we're very, very passionate about our football teams, the Badgers and the Packers. Yeah. But we'll tell you, you suck to your face and then buy you a drink. We don't give a fuck. I mean, that's party and watch some good football.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've never had a bad incident. Like, we saw Wisconsin, and Wisconsin beat us when LSU went up and played Wisconsin at Lambeau Field, I think 2015. And we were at a sports bar watching the game, and there were some Wisconsin fans, at the next table over to us. And very cordial. We, shot the shit with them through the whole game and whatnot. And just, you don't get that same reaction from Ohio State fans, Notre Dame fans, or whatnot. Even Texas fans. I know I'm living in Texas, but like A&M fans and UT fans, those are some cocky sons of bitches too.
I have not watched any football all season.
Nope. I actually don't miss it. We've been going out to the distilleries and the wineries on the weekends, or doing like fun projects at home and stuff like that, or doing other things. I've been reading the Wheel of Time series in the afternoon. So I've got 2 big books I'm reading right now. There's one of the first Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan, so I'll read that out loud. Santa and I are doing that, but I'm also reading the Infinity Gauntlet, which it's the omnibus of that. So it's like 1,200 pages of going through the entire Infinity Gauntlet with all the Avengers and Thanos collecting the stones. And my 3-year-old loves looking at that. She can now identify Thanos, Iron Man, Captain America, Spider-Man, all of that stuff. I mean, she doesn't really watch TV, so when she gets to see like the comic books and stuff, she loves me reading that to her at night. And plus, I'm a comic book nerd too. I like going back and rereading those.
When the baseball season started, I was excited because they had a 60-game season, and I bought the MLB package at a discounted price. I don't know if it was $60, but I'm a Brewers fan, and I started watching the Brewers game, and then one of the Brewers quit, because it was too dangerous to play during COVID. I'm like, I was so pissed because we don't get to quit our jobs. We don't get to quit our jobs.
Yeah.
And the guy's an outfielder sitting in the middle of fucking nowhere, in right field or whatever. Yeah. I mean, I canceled my MLB package and I said enough.
Yep.
You don't get to quit your job. If you do, your family doesn't eat. So, I mean, grow up. I hate tossing. I don't toss that one up often, but I did this week get the NHL package for $99. I love hockey. I'm going to watch a little bit of hockey, and I'm just going to watch some people shoot pucks and smash each other, and hopefully, there won't be any mass or political bullshit. If so, I'll just cancel.
No, that's why I like watching the UFC fights on Saturday nights. The Bellator MMA on I think it's Thursday or Friday nights, and then the UFC stuff on Saturdays. There's no bullshit. It's just 2 guys beating the hell out of each other. 2 women. They got women fights too. So yeah, those are actually some more entertaining to watch sometimes than the guy fights.
Yeah, I've worked with a couple of female MMA fighters before. One of them, local with Tiger Fitness related athletes, and I wouldn't want to fight them. I'm pretty sure with their knowledge of jiu-jitsu that they would kick my ass. Stein, is it normal to hold more water while dieting? No, it's not normal. And the water issue is the biggest issue I deal with when dealing with clients. And correct me where I'm wrong here, Robert, if I'm wrong, but unless you have the same food choices, the same sodium, the same carb, the same fats, the same proteins, the same electrolytes, the same sleep, the same stress habits, and the same exercise habits on a daily basis, you're going to get some degree of water fluctuation and endurance work or exercise can often result in temporary inflammation. Like when I do a longer run, I tend to gain 3 to 4 pounds on the scale. So is it normal to hold Water while dieting? No. Not for an extended period of time. So, Robert, any insights or thoughts into this one?
No, I mean, you summed up everything pretty much. That's why when we're tracking weight loss changes, or even like when you're gaining, you want to take your weight, if not every day, then at least 4 times per week, or maybe at a bare minimum 3 times a week, so you can take a weekly average. Because there's going to be, even within the day, you might wake up in the morning at like 180, and then by lunchtime you could be 185 because you've had a bunch of food and water in your system, and then later in the afternoon maybe you're down to like 182 and stuff like that. So there's going to be tons of fluctuations throughout the day. And that's why we want to try and take a weekly average to kind of see how weight's progressing, and don't get so stuck on like the individual days, but look for week trends and then month trends.
Even if you were doing the worst possible cutting diet under the planet, meaning all you ate each day was 2,000 calories of beer, M&Ms, and
protein shakes to keep the muscle.
Yeah, or whatever. A lot of sodium and a lot of simple carbs. And you weren't even then you would still be losing weight at a steady pace because your water level might be a little bit higher than normal, but you'd be dropping fat. So the question I see here is, are you not losing weight? And if you're not losing weight, then that's a whole different issue.
Since we're on the topic of beer, Steve, what was the cheap beer you drank in college?
We always had a place called Oscar's in Fond du Lac, and the bars, you couldn't buy alcohol after 9 o'clock in Wisconsin, but some bars had carryouts. So you could walk in, they had carryouts till 11 or midnight. So you could always get a case of bottles for like $6. And then each bottle you turned back in, you got a nickel. So what we would do, because we were cheap, is we'd go spend $6 on a beer. The next day we'd take that back, get our $1.20. We only needed $4.80 to light it up the next day, which between 4, 5, 6, college partiers was a buck a day to get lit up. So, man, it was all over the place. We would change between Blatz, red, white, and blue, all the crappy, awful, old school Wisconsin beer, Schlitz, whatever it was. It was just piss,
Understandable.
But it was crazy how drunk you'd get on that stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, at that time you probably weren't used to drinking. You're a little smaller framed, maybe. So
we'd have a pretty good party on a case of beer. I don't know how. Pork meat. Hope you guys are doing well, hanging in there. Thank you, sir. Best exercise to train the vastus medialis. This really goes back to any lifting philosophy. The main lifting philosophy I have, well-rounded from head to toe. I don't target individual muscle groups. I just try to, be like a painter and cover the whole canvas with something that makes sense. So I don't target the vastus medialis. I just do my normal leg exercises and, assume it's going to be strengthened, as it should be. Robert, any thoughts on that? I mean, if somebody has a weakness.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering. So the muscle he's talking about is the teardrop muscle. For the listeners out there that may not be sure what the vastus medialis is, it's the teardrop muscle that's on the front of your thigh that's next to your knee, on the inside of your thigh. So with the exercises that have always worked really well for me, walking lunges and Bulgarian split squats do a damn good job of that. If you're looking for an exercise to kind of establish the mind-muscle connection, and I mean, I'm not saying I use those exercises to target the vastus medialis, but I'm saying those muscles just in and of themselves hammer that area particularly well for me. Like I feel burning in that before I feel it in the rest of my quad. You can also do something called terminal knee extensions, which is a great way to kind of warm up the VMO if you don't feel it activating enough during your compound leg exercises, because the VMO weakness in that can lead to patellar issues, weaknesses in that lead to increased risk for knee injury, knee pain. So you definitely want to make sure that's a good, strong muscle. Plus, it just makes your legs look badass in a pair of shorts if you got a good, well-developed VMO.
The only thing I've ever done over time to target that is and this might sound like some silly stuff, but it's an old school thing that I picked up and I just could never set aside. When I'm doing leg extensions, the first rep, I'll put my actual hand on the vastus, on the outer quad, and then I'll do the leg extension and feel the outer quad. And then the next rep, I'll put my hand on the vastus medialis and I'll do a leg extension and feel that. I don't know if that helps. I don't know if it helps me do the old mind-muscle connection, but it kind of helps me feel the muscles work a little bit. That's the only thing bro science-y or training voodoo I've ever done to attack directly. I've just always done a wide variety of leg exercises, and my quads have developed, naturally. But obviously, there's going to be some people that have weaknesses, or smaller body parts naturally. I'm not one of them. So I would do some further research if you feel yours is underdeveloped. Most people, I'm going to say, could probably benefit from doing a more well-rounded program first before they start to do anything crazy. So, Robert, that brings us to the post I made yesterday about Brad Schoenfeld.
Yep.
I'm saying, do a wider variety of exercises. And I got some knee-jerk reactions, like, oh, you're talking about Ryan Humus and stuff. No, I've been beating this drum forever that, programs like Strong Lifts and Starting Strength and Bill Starr programs are not the best for hypertrophy. They're not. They never were, and I've been saying that forever. While I'm not a, hit a muscle from every angle guy, I've always been use a wide variety of exercises to target each muscle group. And basically, Brad Schoenfeld saying the same thing. And you made a comment about that, about a study from a couple of years ago, did you not?
Yeah, it's like they had one group do nothing but squats, I believe, and the other one was they had them do squats, leg press, lunges, and they may have had them do trap bar deads as well. And, the group that did the greater exercise variety had greater growth overall across their entire quad. So I think both groups had similar gains in size, but there was more robust development, like better even distribution of that development across the leg in the group that did the wider variety of exercises than the group that just did the squats. I'm gonna have to go back and look at. I think it was a 2017 or 2018 study. They've had a couple of those actually come out. There was one in 2019 that came out, and one in 2020 as well.
So somebody, I got a wide variety of comments on the bro split videos. Robert, correct me if I'm wrong, but when we were looking at the Schoenfeld information, and Paul Carter echoed this as well, and I believe you did, that frequency makes more sense when you're talking volume management. It's more convenient when you're talking about volume management. And somebody misinterpreted this and turned that into frequency is superior when you err on the side of volume. It's not superior, correct, Robert? It's just superior from a volume management standpoint. It's more convenient.
Yeah, and if you're somebody like that trains like you or Paul Carter does, where you guys take, I would say you're more on the lower end of the volume spectrum. Like you're not doing 20 plus sets for a body part each week. Y'all are more in like the 9 to 15 sets per body part. And y'all your old philosophy, make every rep count or make every set count, where you're taking it, if not to failure, then like right on the brink of failure. And then when you're doing that, you can get by with less overall sets per week because you're putting higher levels of fatigue and tension into the muscles than doing the volume approach, where you may only be staying at 3 reps in reserve the entire time that you're training there. So if you're doing the higher volume and you're staying further away from fatigue, then the volume management is going to lean in the favor of the more frequent approach. But if you're beating the hell out of a muscle, taking everything to failure or really close, or doing something like a mountain dog way of training, doing it only one time a week is going to give you a better time to recover, and you'll be able to delve more intensity into those lifts.
It's funny. Well, it's not surprising how people reacted to this information. I've spent the last 10 years saying, guys, it's not black or white. It's in the middle. And we've pretty much done this as well. I think it's just common sense. And when I've mentioned that when I talked to Paul Carter, we discussed basically how 99% of people we've known with good results have used bro splits, not because bro splits are superior, but it's just the way people trained. And we knew from this data pool that, it really doesn't matter in the long run, as long as but it would be fun, Robert, to just do a video, me and you, where we cover this and go through the comments on those videos and address the misunderstandings and misinterpretations. So if you're up for that, maybe we could do that this week.
Yeah. And one thing I find funny is that it's like we've been on this volume versus intensity kick for, it seems like 2 years now, because I wrote that article for Tiger Fitness probably in 2018, maybe 2019. There's a big volume versus intensity article I did where I kind of delved into the research of things. And I'm not sure where it's not like Mike Israetel and the Renaissance periodization guys are going out trying to start fights with like the 3DM muscle people, or Paul Carter and T Nation, like the lower, or John Meadows and the lower volume people, or you. They're not doing that. It's like, I don't know who it is. Maybe it's all these other fitness influencers that are trying to start shit between these different. And it's like, there's multiple ways to train. There's multiple ways to get results. But we don't have Dr. Mike going out there saying, Paul Carter's full of shit. He doesn't know anything. Yeah, they've had some roundtable discussions or debates, but it's not like political debates where they're yelling at each other and calling each other names, or, let's saying they're wrong. Multiple ways of training will bring results, provided you put in the work in the diet and in the gym. You can get it just which way do you prefer to train? Or the way that works for you now may not be the way that works for you, 5 years from now.
Would it be fair, Robert? You got somebody like me, and you got Paul Carter and Meadows and Dr. Mike and Brad Schoenfeld. You have all these guys, right? And we're not attacking each other. If you put us in a room, we're probably all going to agree, that we can all get results from our different flavors of the same thing.
Yeah.
But on the other side of the fence, you have this group of strong liftians, or people that are trying to do starting strength to build muscle, or trying to do these minimal type of programs to build muscle. And it's really the world against them. Those programs are not good at building muscle. And I mentioned to Paul Carter, I said, when's the last time you've seen one of these guys with 16-inch arms and it was lean that had really good muscle gains? If they have them, it's because they probably could have got those gains rolling a rock around their carpet.
Yeah.
A workout's a workout. But when we are like, you can only use barbells, and that stick only to barbell exercises, and that stick only to 5x5, and it's magic and it works, and there's no reason to use anything else. And it's like, calm down, guys. Keep your dick in your pants. There's a whole world of scientific information and real world information out there that might show what you're doing is not optimal for hypertrophy.
Yep.
So anyway, Modern Stoic. I have 176 kg dead, 150 kg squat, 113 kg bench, hoping to get to 205, 170, and 130 by October. Very, very reasonable. That's 300, 505, about a 1,200 pound total, give or take. So it's going to be a push, but it definitely can happen over the course of a year if you just get in the trenches and stay healthy. Reasonable volume for a muscle group when you train bro split. Now, this is something we've covered a lot, basically every week. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter bro split or frequency training. You have to look at things over the course of a week. And generally for a major muscle group, I'd like to be between 12 to 15. Generally 12 is more of a sweet spot for convenience and time and that sort of thing. Those are for major muscle groups like shoulders, back, chest, and quads. I tend to do a little bit more for back, more around 50. And minor muscle groups, 6 to 9, but certain muscle groups, minor muscle groups, like calves or abs or whatever, I generally don't even do 6. So anything to add to that, Robert?
No, you basically hit the volume landmarks there for what I would fall in line with as well.
All right, we got Trey BJ from Korea. Thanks for tuning in. Stein going hiking tomorrow. Vinjakula, Norway is an awesome place. I will tell you guys, if you're looking for a fun little video, there are some video. I think I watched a video the other night while my wife was in the shower called the 100 best places in Europe to visit. So if you want an hour of your time spent exploring Europe and places like Norway, check out that video. Because there's some pretty amazing places that the Master Gaming YT, another individual from India. Thanks, appreciate you tuning in. Just released by Newsweek. COVID lockdowns have no clear benefit versus other voluntary measures. The only thing I'll say is in the UK, they project they're going to lose 250,000 small businesses this year. I talked to the local sheriffs. They come in and my wife does their alterations. And they said drug use, calls, household violence calls, alcoholism calls, drunk driving, everything's way up. It's a nightmare for them. So COVID's dangerous. Yes, we all understand that. The measures we're taking to keep people safe are not keeping them safe. You know, it's not helping with their health or mental health. And these are issues we're not addressing as a society, which is a shame. Andre, do you guys think it would be cool to evaluate our lifting videos? I do that for my clients. I do that for those that join the micro coaching. And when people message me on Instagram, I do that as well. I have been thinking, Robert, about doing a squat members only micro coaching meeting once a month and talking about a specific lift where guys can, come on here and we can screen share their lifts from their computer. Mm-hmm. I would love to do that sort of thing, but the amount of time I have to restrict that to clients. I do check out people's forms on Instagram and give them a pointer or two, but to dedicate a whole video to it, it would have to be, something pretty focused, or else it'd get pretty boring, for the average individual. What's going on, Chris? Thanks for tuning in.
Chris.
David, can you give me access to your app? Anybody that wants access to the app can go over to superlivingtoday.com. Check out the Massive Iron Insider. You told me you'll take a look at it. I had an issue logging in. I believe this was a client of mine, David. David, I'm trying to get off WhatsApp, and I've had a few clients lingering on WhatsApp. So email me at benthebarman@gmail.com. Team Rock Training. Can you explain bulldozer laterals? You got a second here, folks? Let me pull this up. All right, here's a video of the big, ugly dude. And I'm going to pull up a bulldozer ladder video. There's a sexy son of a gun. This is on my YouTube channel. Try the shoulder superset bulldozer laterals and dumbbell uprights.
Yep, I remember seeing this video back. I came across this when I was living in Michigan before you and I started working together, Steve.
So here's the starting point. A regular lateral starts at, you can see the hand here is on the opposite hip. A regular lateral starts on the same hip. What this is going to do is it's going to give you a little bit more swing and power. So you'll be able to use a little bit heavier of a dumbbell, but it also makes the movement more leverage friendly. So it is not the be all end all, but I find it to be far more exciting than just doing laterals alone. Both of them are probably good to use. But what you do is you will have a dumbbell in your hand, and then you're holding it with your opposite hand. So every time you lift the dumbbell up here, when it swings back down, you catch it. So you're not just swinging your entire body. So let's fast forward here. So you're holding the dumbbell here, and then you're going to power it up. You're going to bring it back, and then you're going to hold it. Then you're going to explode it up again. When you're driving it up, you are not driving the hand up. You are driving your elbow up. When you're doing a lateral, you're driving your elbow up. That'll help you better engage the shoulders and put less stress in general. Let's see if I actually do this. This looks right before my powerlifting meet when I was about 266 pounds. Let's see. Do I have a dumbbell here? Okay, so I catch it. I power it up. That's just the upright row variation. That's a bulldozer lateral. Catch and drive your elbow up. And then sometimes if you watch, what I also do is then superset it with dumbbell upright rows. Again, if you're going to do these, you're going to concentrate on driving your elbows up. I hate the dumbbell upright row, but this is
an interesting way to do it. Like instead of pulling your arms out to the side, it almost looks like you're doing like almost like a rear delt upright row where you're coming back behind your body instead of out to the side. That's interesting.
Yeah, it feels better on my shoulder. There's not a lot of range of motion, but honestly, after you've done a set of bulldozer laterals and you do these, your shoulders are really torched. So it doesn't really matter how you do your upright rows, but I hope that helps. All right, guys, we are an hour and 15 minutes in. We'll stay in as long as you guys have questions. Feel free to post your questions now. Diet training, nutrition, supplementation. We'll stay on as long as you can. Or as long as we can. If we miss any of your questions, head over to Instagram. I've been the barman. Robert, you've actually been thinking about dumping Instagram from all the stress that's taking place in the modern world. How are you doing with that?
I mean, I'm not very active on it to begin with. I'm just trying to think. Like I would, on a scale of 1 to 10, my engagement on social media is probably like a 3 or a 2 compared to the average person. I think I'm just going to move it down to 0. Like I get some questions in my inbox each day and I'll answer those. But I'm not somebody that scrolls through a bunch of stuff or does anything like that. I'll upload a notification. Hey, a new episode of the podcast is here. Or like I'm doing a live with you, something like that, or the live Q&As I do with Sandy on Wednesdays. I don't know. Facebook came out when I was a sophomore in college. I was never really big into it then. It was okay. My work is not tied to that. Thankfully, it's most doing a lot of the stuff I do with you or consulting with supplement companies. So maybe if I did if I shifted emphasis more to one-on-one coaching versus purely consulting for supplement brands, maybe it would be more important to my career and whatnot. I don't know. I don't. It's more of like I don't know if it necessarily causes me stress. It's just is it something I even want to invest the time into doing? Is this kind of the thing? It seems like more of a hassle. I don't get any enjoyment out of doing it. It's more of like, just contact me on email or come join the Massive Iron Insider group and be on the forum. I can give you much more detailed, nuanced answers than just trying to sit there on my phone and type out a reply or something like that. If you ask me a bunch of questions on like, what supplement should I use here? What's the ingredient is this? I'm much more of a laptop person, or I'll do a video consult or something like that. I do not like social media.
Well, I dumped Facebook this week. The issue is like for me, it's not so much political as it is principle. Facebook's a distraction for me. My main work is on Instagram and YouTube, and I love both of those platforms. I love Instagram because I can see pictures, people working out, generally not a brain decay for me. But on YouTube, everything all the time is scrolling politics, COVID, and my inbox is politics, COVID. People will message and send me stuff, where on Instagram, they don't generally do that. And I don't have the time in my day. I gotta deal with my clients. So I'm over it. One thing I'll say is, social media used to be a tool, a pipeline for communication. It did not filter the communication, and the governments were set up to allow them not to be sued because they were not the arbiter of what the content was. But now that they are trying to moderate and tell you what you can and can't post, I do not believe they should have protection any longer because they are not allowing the free flow of information that, we're all in process. We all make mistakes. We all have bunk information. We all believe in something fringe, I'm just over social media I like the Wild West internet. I do. And I will always like the Wild West internet. Free flow of ideas. If I go out into the street and talk to you, Robert, and you come up to me and you have some weird fucking conspiracy theory about how aliens probed your ass and you got to buy a book by John von Winkelmeyer, and I like the freedom to process that on my own without somebody standing over my shoulder going, fact check, fact check, fact check. Like, fuck off.
Exactly.
So that's why I got off Facebook. Nothing to do with politics. Fact check this motherfucker. All right, so let's move on from that. Do you guys think ladders are useful?
Yes, I changed light bulbs with ladders. They are very useful.
Yeah. When and where do you think they're most useful? How to program? Ladders meaning moving up in weight or moving. Is that what we're talking about here, Robert?
I think what he's talking about is like doing like when you're pairing two exercises together. So say you're doing pull-ups and dips. So you do 10 reps of pull-ups, 1 rep of dips, 9 reps of pull-ups, 2 reps of dips, and then you work your way back down, and then, or you're going to pair kettlebell squats, goblet squats with kettlebell swings. So you're doing 10, 10, 9, 9, 8, 8, 7, 7. I think they could be useful as like a metabolic conditioning kind of day or something. Could they get enough volume in with it? Maybe. I would tend to use them more with body weight movements than probably something like a barbell squat and a heavy barbell deadlift. I think that would just crush you.
Yeah. Conditioning, yeah. I mean, not hypertrophy and strength building. There's specific ways to approach it. Conditioning, fine, yeah.
Yeah, that's how I would do it. Or if you're just looking for like a fuck off workout, like it's a deload week and you just kind of want to have fun, that's where you throw it in there. If your main goal is building strength, powerlifting, power building, I don't think those are. It's more of a general fitness tool or conditioning tool than it is a pure hypertrophy or strength tool.
If you were doing something like an upper body day or a full body day where you use, say, a pull-ups and dips or pull-ups and push-ups ladder, and you had some form of inherent progression built into there, then yes, it could be useful for hypertrophy. It just really depends on is there a progression scheme built in? I imagine it would work better with body weight stuff or whatever, but there would have to be, outside of the conditioning realm, there'd have to be some inherent form of progression built in.
Right.
I do full body, upper, lower. It's comfortable for me. That's absolutely fine. What I would suggest, since you are doing full body, upper, lower, your upper, I imagine, is pretty intense. So I would consider doing like an HLM type of training, or a MLH type of training, meaning a moderate full body workout, a more lighter full body workout, and then a super duper upper body workout. So chest, you could do like dumbbell benches, 3x10. On the full second full body day, say dips, pull-ups, supersets, something a little bit less compoundy with barbells and dumbbells. And then maybe on upper day, 3x5s, 3x6 on bench. Just rotate exercises, rotate variations, and that sort of thing. Does that make sense, Robert?
Makes perfect sense.
All right, I always got to bounce everything I create in this mad mind of mine off yours to make sure I'm sane.
Yep.
Johnny is hilarious in Cobra Kai. I know when I used to talk to Elgin a lot, he used to like that show. So if Elgin likes it, it's good enough for me.
I'm in good company then.
Do you have any experience recommendations on Mike Mentzer's heavy duty training? Oh yeah, I've been around long enough. Well, like, look, when I was, back in the day when everything was same type of training, Mike started to appear in magazines, and you were like, this is very different. It was odd. It was unique. You couldn't but help stop and look at it. From Mike's form of training, it changed training forever. in many ways good, in many ways it confused things. There are some things we can learn, but we have to understand when we approach training that no two exercises have the same set of demands. So training to failure is going to be different on dumbbell flies and squats. So we have to kind of learn from this stuff. We also are more scientifically advanced than we were back then. Mike tried to act scientific. He was more pseudo science than actually scientific. Would that be fair, Robert?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, and that's not necessarily a knock against Mike. Just the research wasn't there yet. We weren't having people like Brand Schoenfeld and Brett Contreras and all these guys didn't exist back in Mentzer's heyday.
Right. So from what we've just even learned in 2021, we know that it's okay to train with a little bit more intensity, and I don't mean weight relative to 1 rep max. Pushing sets harder, doing supersets, rest, pause, all that kind of stuff. Definitely has some, some post-failure training has benefit, but don't drink the Kool-Aid and do his method. No way. And I'll tell you, as somebody that's been an insider in the industry, I'm going to be honest here with you because I've communicated with his people, and I firsthand, when I talk about somebody, whether it's Mike Mentzer's people or Frank Zane's people or Ronnie Coleman, it's because I talk to them. I literally talk to them. Mike Mentzer's people are nuts. They're nuts. You cannot, if you mention heavy duty or Mike Mentzer anywhere on the internet, they will track you down and ask you to remove it. They want complete control over they think they're entitled to complete control over every mention. So if you make a workout that says Mike Mentzer heavy duty inspired training, here's my slant, they will hunt you down and threaten to sue you. They have done, like,
weird.
I had one of my few rules as an editor is don't mention this guy because his people are fucking nuts. And you know what? If they would have actually worked with social media and worked with the lifting industry, they probably would have a lot more income than they do right now. So that's all I got. Sam, should I add sets that go below 8 reps? I find that anything below 8 reps gets me injured. If it's getting you injured, no.
Yeah, you answered your own question there, Sam.
The majority of my work over the years has been on compound 6 to 10 reps. But could I have lived in the 8 to 10 rep range? Absolutely. Strength is built with progression and a reasonable rep range. And is 8 reps reasonable? Absolutely. Neo is a client of mine from Minnesota. Mike Mentzer was awesome. I never read his books. They're hard to find. Yeah, I've been collecting the old school books, trying to find them, and just to have them in the collection. I really like Mike Mentzer for how he challenged the status quo because I believe that's always a good thing. But when somebody challenges the status quo, there's going to be some good take-homes and some bad take-homes. So I always like him for challenging what was. Let's see. We'll do okay. By the way, Mike has another book, not the heavy duty one. That's the book I'm looking for. There's a few of them out there. I used to own them all, but I can't remember the titles.
You checked eBay, Neo? Have you checked eBay? They have those are usually some good spots to find hard to come by books.
I'm trying to see if his website appears to. Oh my God, his website's still up and it's still from 2001.
Holy shit. Yeah, that's some old school HTML stuff right there.
Yeah, it hasn't changed at all. But here's his books tab. I know I've owned The Wisdom of Mike Mentzer and the one to the right, High Intensity Training. I've owned that. I don't think I don't know if I've ever owned the original Heavy Duty. So he used to have a forum on here. And I don't know if they dumped that or not. Testimonials. Happy 67th birthday, Mike. I've worked with some people that did his training that were we're now trained in that heavy duty style. But Joanne Sharkey down here, boys and girls. Joanne Sharkey is the person I interacted with. And if you want to get into a cat fight, there's a cat to fight with, because that Joanne is a angry SOB if you mention
tough old biddy.
Yeah, do not mess it. I am the Lord of heavy duty training, and you shall abide by my. All right. BHUD is always in my heart or in my music. That's a love story that'll never end. Thank you. I appreciate it. What do we got here? Your views on Candido's 6-week strength training program? No idea. And I'm not being disrespectful. I get these questions all the time. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? What do you think of this? Candido's program is okay. In a long time. I'm sure it's nothing like the 5x. The only real on my radar, the only real programs that stand my radar are the 5x5 minimal programs. Look, I like my training programs for strength. Candido's strong. His programs are reasonable. All I can really say is his program is reasonable. I like my programs because they're mine, and Dr. Mike likes his programs because it's his. At the end of the day, they're all pretty reasonable programs. So whoever you find sexier, I would just use their program. Simple as that. Isabella Kasambe. This looks like one of these. Lately on YouTube, there's been a lot of sex spamming, and YouTube does nothing about it. So every time I post a video, I get these stupid comments like, I'd like to talk to you boys. And, it's just crazy. So
yeah, I've been getting a bunch of those too, and I've just been deleting them.
So I'm going to block that user. What do we got? Hockey season started. Who is your hockey team? Back in the day in the 80s, when we first had cable, the New York Rangers were always on. So I used to watch the Rangers in the 80s. But being from Wisconsin, I transitioned to watching the Chicago Blackhawks a little bit more often. And now that I live in Ohio, it's not so much a Blackhawks. I'm just more of a general hockey fan. I've never watched the Columbus Blue Jackets, but I'm going to start watching them this season just to see if I can, see if I enjoy it. Minnesota Wild. All right.
Yeah, I liked the Red Wings growing up as a kid. That was kind of when they were in their heyday with Sergei Fedorov, Steve Yzerman, whatever, Stevie Y. When they won their back-to-back cups, what was it, 95 and 96 or 96 and 97? I liked watching them. I mean, the Mighty Ducks was around when I was a kid, so I loved watching those movies. We had the New Orleans Brass, which was a minor league team. My dad used to take us to those games. That organization has long since folded and moved out of New Orleans. But, yeah, I loved hockey. We played roller hockey in the streets, too, because we don't get snow in New Orleans, so we played hockey on rollerblades out in the street.
I'm just a general hockey fan. I love playoff hockey, and there's nothing better than having a tie going into the third. Every shot, every move is like super exciting for me. So
yeah, my sister-in-law loves Sandy's older sister. She has two older sisters. The middle one loves the New Jersey Devils. So we used to watch a lot of hockey games with her because she'd get the NHL season pass.
I think I've had a Hasek jersey. I love Dominic Hasek.
Yep.
I like watching him. I was a Buffalo Sabres fan for a while because of that. But, man, the Detroit, Colorado era, when those guys were going at it, I remember some of the classic goalie fights and shit like that. What do we got? K Longstockings. Best way to train deadlift when you aren't maxing out. You should not be maxing out on your deadlifts. You should not. There's no reason to train above 85% on your deadlifts. Generally, what I advise is no more than 25 deadlift floor reps from the floor per week. Generally, if you go a little bit lighter on the intensity scale, you can do a little bit more. But after that point, I find it to be a little bit, for the average individual, a little bit too much. A deadlift training program for me focuses on getting your back strong and your quads strong. And I'll say this many, many times in the future. If you can barbell row 405 by 5, what do you think your dumbbell or what do you think your deadlift is going to be? That's not to say that the barbell row is the main contributor to deadlift strength. But my point is, when it comes to deadlift strength, which is, in my opinion, the king of brute strength, you need to get every muscle group in the human body as strong as you can, including quads and back. I like, if somebody's really serious about the deadlift, I like them to rotate variations every other week. From a could be sumo and conventional. It could be conventional and trap bar. It could be conventional and block pull. It can really be anything you want. But I think in the long run, training 2 variations is better on the lower back. And, you might be working muscle groups that aren't necessarily worked during the floor pull as hard. So that's basically where I'm at. I use a program called Threes, and for my serious clients, and the client will, the first set, whatever weight they're using, if they get to 7 reps, then they add 5 pounds the next week. And then they do 2 back off sets of 7.5%. So that's a basic program of what I use for my clients. Ryan, good morning. I'm 18 years old, and my only passion right now is lifting and eating right. Nothing wrong with that. All my other time feels wasted. How to spend my time to find my passion and career? Do what you love. Do what you love. And if you love to lift and eat right, then spend your doing it. That is not wasted time. I went to college for astrophysics, and I loved lifting in college. I should have started to dedicate. I wish I had somebody back then who told me to dedicate my time to my passions. If you dedicate your time in life to the things you love, spend your time learning, you're going to develop a career. You're going to develop a path in life. Do what you love. Don't waste time doing things you don't love. Anything to add to that, Robert?
Yeah, Steve, you hit a bunch of good points. So, I mean, as I mentioned at the outset of this podcast, my degree's in mechanical engineering, and, always growing up, I was a math and science nerd. I did Taekwondo from the time I was 9 years old to when the school closed, and I still practice now on my own. I was good in math and science. I thought my dad was a mechanical engineer. My grandpa was a chemical engineer. My younger brother's an aerospace engineer. So just math and science came easy to me, and school did. I enjoyed learning. I figured, hey, this works. It provides a steady income, will allow me to go do the things I want to. I can get a nice house. I can just take vacations when I want to and all of that stuff. I didn't find out my passion. I was never passionate about engineering. I was good at it and it came easy to me, but I was never passionate about it. I liked problem solving and learning. But I mean, I didn't really get the bug and this passion for supplementation, health, fitness until my grandfather passed away in 2010. So, I mean, that was 10 years ago, and I graduated from college in 2008. So, I mean, you might, what you think might be your career now may not be it, 5-10 years from now. Just be open to it. Always be ready to pivot if life presents itself. But I mean, I've found my passion now, and I wake up every day excited and eager to continue to delve further and further into all things health, fitness, supplementation, and nootropics. So, yeah, just be open to what options may present yourself. And if you're really passionate about health and fitness now, man, dive headfirst in, do everything you can, get a personal training certificate, or maybe you want to become a exercise physiologist or get your PhD in muscle physiology or something like that.
Follow everybody, read everything, cross-reference everything. And I'm about to get a little bit zen on you guys, but it's not on purpose. But my best advice for anybody watching is don't bottle yourself in. And here's what I mean. When you wake up on a given day, don't say, I must lift today or I must study today. Do what you want to do on that given day. If you want to get up and hike. If you want to get up and study, a book on running just because you're curious and you don't even run, do that. Get up every day and do what you want to do that day, and a path will present itself. Yep. I do not get up every day and say, today I am going to do this, that, or the other thing. One of the best things you can do is be a free-form self-learner. when you get up each day, what's on your mind? What's your passion that morning? Just go chase it that morning. We obviously have to do our career or put food on the table, but beyond that, if you spend 2 years doing what you're doing, Ryan, with fitness and lifting, and you find you don't really like it anymore, move on. Do something different.
Yep.
Don't box yourself in. You have a big life ahead of you, so continue to follow your passion every day. Come here, Butters. I think we got a guest on the channel. Come here, B. Come here, buddy. Come here, buddy. Hold on. Get out of here, Peanut. I got a dog sniffing my face. All right. This is B. Butters of Butterville. And Mama's gone, so he just woke up and he's feeling a little bit lonely. So he likes to. Can you say hi? Say hi.
Hi, Mr. Butters.
Say hi. All right.
Maybe.
All right. I got. Now they're gonna go play. Okay. Is training hypertrophy on the deadlift even necessary?
I think maybe he means like in the typical rep range of like 8 to 12 reps or something. That's what I'm going to assume where he's going with this.
The deadlift and the squat are very unique. More than the squat, the deadlift's a very unique exercise. So, as I mentioned, I recommend tempering the amount of volume you use and being smart about it. So, if you want to do some more intense stuff, I've done like 8 to 10 minute blocks on the deadlift with like 70% of your max. I'm doing singles, doubles, and triples. That stuff can be pretty brutal and pretty decent for hypertrophy. But if you're just training straight hypertrophy, do you need to do the deadlift? No. No, you do not. I didn't even know the deadlift was a lift until 2007, 21 years into my lifting career. But if you check my Instagram, and I'm going to do it just because I just made a video about it. And let's get that away. Hold on a minute, folks. It's just giving me bullshit. If you check my Instagram, I posted a picture of my back, and you can see where my erectors are. So I don't think there's any replacement for big, juicy erectors other than deadlifts. So it is what it is. Any recommendations for a trap bar deadlift jack? Yes. Hold on, friends. I am going to go to Titan Fitness. I've been ordering everything this year from Titan Fitness. They ship quickly, and we're going to do a little perusal. I have no affiliation with them, but everything I order from them is reasonable quality for the home gym user. It's nice and sturdy. The price is great, and they ship quickly. So they have let me just search that. I just ordered this, and this is in my gym right now. Where's the bad boy? I think I ordered the last one. Can you guys see that? Out of stock. See that? You know why? Because I ordered the last one, so suck it. I did. But these right here, these are deadlift jacks, and if you notice there's pins, you can adjust the height. So you can actually do rack pulls. And what you can do, see there, you can do, instead of doing block pulls or rack pulls and damaging your bar, you can pull at various heights, and these just slip on the end of a barbell. It also helps you to load the barbells with ease at a home gym, so you don't have to buy a deadlift jack. They're 25 pounds for the pair. And honestly, this is one of the best investments I've made for my home gym. So don't get a jack. I strongly recommend these because these you can actually deadlift with in your home gym. It saves your back wear and tear from loading, and probably cheaper than a deadlift jack. So check this out. They have notify me when it's in stock. So that's my recommendation. Boom. All right, what do we got here? Recovery is okay, and the weight is heavy enough to do 6 reps minimal. Some are 8 reps. After 2 weeks, increase. I'm not sure what we're talking about here. Sam, our bro split's viable. Sam, I just made a video with Robert a couple weeks ago, Robert.
New Year's Day, it went live.
And a video with Paul Carter. They're absolutely viable. They're 100% viable. In fact, they might be a better option. But we don't make rules. They're viable means, are they equal to frequency training? Yes, 100%. And the new science that we're showing is bringing us back to that reality. Don't overthink this stuff. Just get strong. Yari, is 3x5 enough deadlift volume? Yes, absolutely. Don't overwork the deadlift. That's completely fine by me. What I would do is what I like to do is when I'm fresh, push the first set for as many quality reps as you can, quality safe reps. So instead of doing a 5x5 or a 3x5, maybe do first rep, max reps, and then then do the next two sets, aim for 5. And if you can do like a 7-5-5, then add 5 pounds the next week. Already answered that one. Having a tough time with bench eccentrics. What I will say for starters is I noticed at times in the gym when my eccentrics felt slow or tedious or weak, if I increase my bicep training, that my eccentrics felt more controlled. So I would look at that as a possible solution. A little bit more arm strength, triceps and biceps. You also have to look at upper body tightness. Are you setting up properly for the bench, creating a nice back platform? Your feet. This is a cue that many people don't understand. But when you plant your feet before you unrack, try to spread the floor with your feet. They can be flat, but try to create at least a minimal amount of lower body tightness and upper body tightness before you unrack. So those are 2 good starting points. Sign on bulldozer workout leg day, a squat and leg press for quads. Okay. That was my staple for many, many years. Squat and leg press, squat and hack squat, squat, leg press, and hack squat. You want to see Jesus in a workout, do squats, leg press, and hack squats, and then leg extensions. I think that workout that I did with Alan Roberts sent him packing. Literally. So, any idea why Chris Duffin says no 35-pound weight plates? Their waist. I mean, if you have 25s and 10s and 45s in the gym, there's really no reason to spend money on them. I've never, as a home gym owner, said, boy, I wish I had a 35-pound plate. Once you got a 25-pounder on there, if you need to slap on weight, you generally don't want to take that off and put a 35-pound on. So, I don't know. Can you think any other reason other than they're useless? They're not really needed?
No, I have no idea why. I've never heard him say anything like that. But, shameless plug, if you're looking for more information from Chris Duffin and his supplement company, Build Fast Formulas, go check out the Supplement Engineer podcast. I just had him on the show 2 weeks ago.
It's like having a 7.5. It's like having a 7.5 pound plate. You got 5s and 2.5s. What do you need a 7.5 for? Right?
Yep.
How long of a maybe he meant deadlifts? I mean, I don't know if you can't deadlift a 35-pound plate off the floor. It's not, it's not tall enough. So I don't know. How long of a commitment is it to join the Insider? There's no commitment, none at all. You join the Insider, you don't like it, you can leave. Some of the guys that join Insiders, they send me videos every day and I look at them. Some send me questions every day. Some, feel almost handicapped. They just don't do anything. So, we're not going to die if you don't join the Insider. But, man, if you really want a service where you can get a lot out of it, you got me looking at your lifts. You got me looking at your diet. You got me looking at your programming. You got Robert looking at your supplements. We don't do your workouts. That's for full coaching. And we don't do your supplement plans. And we don't do your diets. But we're there as somebody in the gym to go up to and say, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Is this okay?
Yeah, it will be as beneficial to you as you put into it. Just like your workouts, you could have the greatest workout program there. If you're not putting in the effort, you're not going to see results from it. The same thing with the insider and the forum access. As much effort as you put into, being a part of the community and engaging with us or pitching questions to us or whatever, you're going to get that much more out of it. So it ultimately boils down to how much effort you and how much time you want to spend picking our brains and engaging with the other members of the community.
Yeah, I mean, I really like insiders that use the service because, look, I mean, I have enough clients. I don't need any more clients. I have a good client base, but Robert and I were trying to figure out a way to allow people to get in that don't need full-blown coaching and don't need. And this is a wonderful service. You get access to all my PDF books for free. You get insider-only articles. You get master classes. You get app access. You get access to the forum. There's a lot of value for $24.99 a month. I guarantee you're going to get more value out of that $24.99 a month than you are, some random cable station or whatever. So if you're really into lifting and you want to use the service, this is a service to use. There's no commitment. Just drop it if you don't like it. Please, Hindi. KJFDFS element of P. How does the strength progression of a teenager compare to adult in their 20s? I'm assuming you're 18 and over. There will really be no difference if you're training properly. If you're a young teen and you really are like, Rudolph, and your legs are all shaky and wobbly and you really don't have that neuromuscular connection, there's going to be a much slower progression. But if you're more of an adult teen, then progression should be about the same. Am I missing anything here, Robert?
No, I think they might be able to handle a little bit more volume and intensity, both just because they're younger, hormone levels are higher. I mean, even if you're in your young 20s, you're still in the prime of your growth and your hormone output. So I would imagine the volume and intensity and recovery factors would be pretty similar between, early 20s and late teens. Now, if you're in your 20s and you're working a full-time job and you've got additional, life stressors like that, maybe your recovery is going to be impaired to a little bit to where you can't handle as much strength or as much volume and intensity as you could maybe in your teens. But overall, I mean, progression is progression. You're still in the prime of your lifting career at that point, get after it.
So Neo says, I just think he, and that's Mike Mentzer, looked great. I've never trained like him. Look, if there is a better physique that has ever existed in bodybuilding than this picture, show it to me. Because I would stand and put this picture up with any picture from the world of body. That is not only when you look at that picture, Robert, you don't just see muscle. You see, like, this guy looks like a warrior. He looks like a machine. He looks strong. He looks like the complete package. So
got that mustache too, man. That's something to aspire to be able to grow.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a better physique than this, this is arguably right up there. I'm sure there's there's so many bodybuilders with great bodies, but seriously, if you could look like this, you would be set. This is a wonderful looking physique. All right, what do we got here? Hey guys, Robert, thoughts on Vanadyl sulfate?
Yeah. Vanadyl sulfate, so it's vanadium, is the trace mineral that they're talking about here. Why you grew from it back in the day, I would tend to believe maybe you thought you may have grew from it more. It could be posited as a potential muscle builder or glucose disposal agent because it inhibits certain enzymes in the body, protein, tyrosine phosphatases, which have downstream effects on insulin sensitivity and glucose disposal. So it would improve your body's ability to uptake and clear glucose from the blood. Also amplifies insulin sensitivity, so you can have better nutrient deposition and partitioning in the body. So by that way, maybe if you were on a particularly high carb diet, you might get better deposition of that glucose into your muscle cells and not as much into fat tissues. But that's the thing about insulin. It doesn't really discriminate. Its main job is to get sugar out of the bloodstream and keep you at a good homeostatic level of safe blood sugar level. So it doesn't really care if it's putting it into muscle cells or fat cells. It's obviously just get the sugar out of the bloodstream first and foremost. If you have lower glycogen stores, then obviously, the glucose is going to preferentially go there. But if you're not doing any kind of glycogen depleting activity, then it's going to put it into your fat cells or as well as your liver, because that's the second major glucose repository in the body aside from skeletal muscle tissue. So it's not necessarily a muscle builder, but it could be a valuable glucose disposal agent. So maybe, yeah. Hi, Fiona.
Hello. Has he been on yet?
He has, maybe about 15 minutes ago.
Ah.
Yep, he's been on.
You got to lift her up.
Oh, no. Peanut's launching around.
Oh, my God.
There we go.
What are you
There's
doing?
all the puppies.
A little bit terrified?
All
Yeah.
the puppies.
All right. Kick rocks, dogs. Thanks, Robert. Sorry to interrupt.
All good.
All right. How do you help someone get into working out if they want to try it and have no equipment? I don't know, body weight stuff. Have fun. What can you do that's fun and exciting? What can you find? What can you secure? What kind of equipment can you secure? I mean, when you have no equipment, do you want to buy equipment? Because if you want to, the question is, I want to get into working out, but I don't have gym access. What do I do? You either have to decide whether you want to buy some equipment and then resell it later, or you want to hold out. And holding out in this day and age, man, you could be holding out for another year the way things are going. Many places have access to gyms, but there are some crazy places like Canada right now where some of my clients, I don't know if they'll ever have gyms. It's just absolute lunacy. So I will say if you get some equipment now, you'll probably be able to sell it later. You're going to take probably a hit on it, but I would try to get some minimum equipment, a kettlebell, some adjustable dumbbells, a barbell, whatever, spend $500.
Yeah, if you want to go like super low, just go with a, I'm going to do a screen share, Steve. Aside from bodyweight exercises, look into a suspension trainer. I mean, you could do a shit ton of stuff. I mean, the most expensive one on their site is $48 right here, this Nosk one. I have this rope trainer where, it allows you to do chest flies, dips, pull-ups, inverted rows, bodyweight tricep extensions, bodyweight curls, hamstring curls. You can even use that as an assist if you're trying to work your way up to like single leg pistol squats or shrimp squats. So if you don't want to buy the gym, you can get this dual point anchor system here or this single point anchor. These are awesome. They travel anywhere. They always have stuff in stock. It's very high quality stuff and it's reasonably priced. And no, I don't get any kind of money from this. I saw it. I went and bought one because we needed a suspension trainer for the house. And I've been using the shit out of it since March is when I got it, March or April. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think the best bang for your buck may be a TRX unit and a couple kettlebells. A lighter kettlebell for more isolation-y type of things, and maybe a little bit heavier kettlebell to challenge your chest or your shoulders or rows. And kettlebells are going to hold their value, I think, more than dumbbells.
Yeah.
I might be incorrect there, so somebody correct me, but once you have the kettlebells, you're probably never going to want to get rid of them anyway. One of the things I wish I had in the gym right now is some good kettlebells. So I have a TRX unit, and Robert's correct. You can do TRX push-ups, TRX tricep extensions. I've done TRX. And if my fat ass can do TRX squats and my door jam is handling it, you guys are probably pretty safe. We got a few minutes left, guys, so last call for questions. We're going to breeze through these. If you start training as a teen, will you go through less of a plateau? No. Doesn't matter when you start. Physiologically, you have the same potential to gain mass. If you are underweight, you'll have a little bit more potential because your body weight has to normalize a little bit. But doesn't matter when you start. you still have the same potential. As you age, it'll get harder and harder to reach that potential for a number of reasons, because you're a broke dick son of a bitch for one of them. You know, your body's a little bit worn down, and you have to be a little bit more careful, but it doesn't really matter. I have pain in my upper back on the right side between the scapula and the spine. Got it from the overhead press. Tried many therapy stretches. Any tips? I'm not being facetious here, but see a doc. You know, things like that, or pain that's not going away, you gotta see a doc. Big Hairy Ugly Dude, I'm a huge fan. Thanks for the great content. Thanks for your support. In one of your videos, you mentioned that when you were obese, you had type 2. Did the diabetes go away? Yes, type 2 nearly killed me. I had fatty liver disease that was so awful that my liver couldn't really process or electrolytes properly. So I was cramping at every muscle group all day long. What I did at that time is I didn't go follow a magic diet. I just said, I'm going to eat only meat, fruits, vegetables, and healthy fats. I removed processed sugar, processed flour, food, and I temporarily, for 2 years, removed complex carbs. I just ate as much as I want from meats, fruits, vegetables, and healthy fats. And it literally, in a month, everything felt 100% better. I felt like a new man just from switching that diet. So absolutely. Appreciate the answers on the deadlifts. We'll take a look. You bet. And if you need any further advice on the threes program, let me know. I can just paste it in the window. Is it possible to gain strength on a cut? Yes. The more strength you have, the harder it's going to be. Put it like this. If you've yet to build a reasonable, respectable amount of strength, then it's easier to gain strength on a cut. If you've built a 225-pound bench, 315 squat, it's harder. It gets harder to maintain that on a cut. So, yes, you can build strength on a cut if you haven't built a reasonable amount of strength. But if you've built a reasonable amount of strength, it becomes harder to sustain or improve upon. Anything to add to that, Robert?
Nope. You got that one all the way, Steve.
All right. I'm on a keto right now. When I get to my desired weight, how should I go about maintaining that weight? Calorie maintenance level. Would counting calories be enough? Yes. But you need to use some strategies that will help you. And one of those strategies is you need a structure in your eating plan. For example, the structure I use is eating like a saint during the week. I know what I'm eating every meal. And that doesn't mean I eat the same thing every meal. We have 5, 6, 7 different dinner choices or whatever. On the weekend, I eat a little bit more loosely. But I have a structure. Eat like a saint during the week, eat a little bit more loose on the weekends. The people that don't have structures are the ones that usually end up gaining weight because they just they fly whichever the way the wind blows during the week. Anything to add to that, Robert?
No. I mean, it's kind of like you, Steve. I'm like a robot when I eat my meals, even on the weekends. I mean, I might have a little extra bourbon on Saturday or Sunday, but I mean, I pretty much eat the same thing no matter. I mean, I make really good food that I enjoy eating, so I don't feel like I'm ever depriving myself. I don't feel like I'm ever craving anything. Sandy gets a craving for like chicken shawarma or gyros or pizza every now and then. I don't every now and then. I guess I'm fortunate in that way. I mean, I have my grilled chicken sandwich with broccoli and green beans for lunch. I have my big smorgasbord of steak or fish with rice and a bunch of roasted vegetables for dinner. Breakfast is either eggs and bacon or a couple of protein bars. And for dinner, I mean, for my last meal of the day, I have a giant bowl of Greek yogurt with protein powder, frozen blueberries, frozen strawberries, and a little bit of chocolate chips. And there might be a glass of bourbon in there, or not, depending on the day. And I mean, that's more than enough for me to always feel content, happy, and both enjoy my food and not feel deprived or anything and hit my calories.
Yeah, you know, I don't think it's hard to find enjoyable, healthy food as hard as people think.
Yeah.
I could literally live. There's a meal that I have. It's a go-to. That's a combination of black and white rice and eggs. And it's got, protein, fats, and carbs. but I add a little bit of light soy, as much Frank's Red Hot as I want, salt, pepper, and I will add diced bok choy, diced red onions, mushrooms, whatever I feel like. And that meal tastes so good to me, I could eat it every single day. And it's got everything I could want in a meal. And even if you stuff it with veggies, it's only 1,200 calories, which is enough to leave you done for the evening. And, you know, a really good meal for intermittent fasting. So, you know, regarding, you know, healthy eating, and like Robert brought up the point, you know, we both have found meals we love, you know, and that comes down to playing around. And some of the things I see people eating for their healthy meals just makes me want to puke, honestly.
Like the old bodybuilder fish and greens diet, like eating a bunch of tilapia or orange roughy and just greens. That's diet food. It sounds gross. I mean, at Cushman, if you're on keto right now, do you enjoy keto? Are you finding both enjoyment and fulfillment from it? Like, do you feel satisfied from your meals, but are you also enjoying the food you're eating? Or do you feel like you're just choking down on these keto foods because you think it's the best way to lose weight? If you're enjoying it and it's a very sustainable for you to achieve your goals and maintain it afterwards, then keep rocking it on. Maybe you can loosen up and incorporate some more starchy foods back in afterwards. But I mean, you know, find something that works for you both from an enjoyment and an effectiveness standpoint, and just keep rocking that out, man.
How do you make food taste good? Well, what things do you like to flavor your food? Light soy, hot sauce, salsa, salt, pepper, thyme for veggies, plain Greek yogurt for creaminess.
Blue cheese makes everything taste better.
Yeah, a little bit of cheese. Maybe you like the taste of avocado. You can toss up pretty much anything. You know, dry cheeses, you can put a little bit of a dry cheese on anything, and really it'll add a little bit of extra flavor. There's really so many ways to add flavor to food. I look for dry seasoning packets, seasoning mixes at the store. I mean, there's so many ways. You need to find an arsenal of flavors you like, and then just start experimenting.
Yep. Cavender's Greek seasoning is awesome on nuked vegetables or meats or anything that you're roasting. Cavender's Greek seasoning is really good stuff. And I also have a homemade Cajun seasoning blend that I make.
And you know, you have to be realistic. You're not going to drop all calories from seasoning out of your diet, and neither should you.
Yeah.
There has to be some flavors, okay, just not in excess.
Yeah.
You don't need a cup of ketchup each night, like Robert.
When I was a kid, I would dunk my chicken nuggets in French fries, man. I went through so much ketchup when I was a kid. It's not even funny.
Right. When are you guys coming out with a supplement line? I don't know, Robert. Any update?
No, that's on me. I'm going to get back in touch with the guys at the manufacturer. I do have another manufacturer that we can talk to as well. A supplement company I do some product pages for just opened up. They're actually going to start manufacturing their own products. So that's going to be somebody else that we can talk to about maybe coming up with a small set of lines. And for you guys listening, what kind of products do you want to see exactly? There's so many different supplements, from general health to productivity to recovery to performance. Let us know. Shoot us an email or leave us something in the comment section what kind of supplements you want to see, because we're only going to put them out if you guys want to buy them. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we explored a ship on demand, and not not one of these crappy lines or quality stuff. But we don't have the money to stock a warehouse of products. So we explored protein powder, and I think that would do pretty well if we had some good flavors. But I wouldn't do it unless the flavors tasted good. Probably creatine. We had explored some kind of omega-3,
D3, K2 supplement possibly.
K2. Things like that, just some basic staples. So Robert's busy trying to buy 2 or 3 properties in Europe and 1 in Georgia. So as soon as he's done with his game of life Monopoly. All right, what do we got here? Well, 6 sets of overhead press and 12 sets of chest work a week, overtrain the front delts. 6 sets overhead press, that's about what I teach for everybody, at least 3 sets of dumbbells and barbells a week. 12 sets of chest. That's a press heavy. If that is a dumbbell bench, barbell bench, and maybe an isolation exercise, you'll be fine. You'll absolutely be fine. Just make sure your back works at least 12 sets, and you're adding some isolation work in your shoulders.
Yeah.
How to teach someone to straighten their back on a deadlift? Lower or upper? Lower is a little bit more tricky. Upper, you don't straighten your upper back. Because if you retract your scapula, and when you start to pull, it's going to immediately round or move out of position. You're going to increase the risk of tear. So you don't want to straighten your upper back. Your lower back comes to setup, and that's really get your weight on your heels. If you don't know, raise your big toe before you pull. Grab the bar, raise your hips, pull your weight down on your heels, make sure your arms are straight. And then from there, instead of trying to yank on the bar, think stand up while keeping your hips stapled into place. This is the hardest thing for people to understand. Staple your hips in place. You're going to feel slower off the floor, but your speed will begin to accelerate, and it's real. The dogs need their own show. If they could actually be monetizable, I'd love to, do that. All right. Insider is awesome. Using the training log in the forum has helped me stay more consistent. And I appreciate your support. How true is it that this is a great question. How true is it that the guillotine press is dangerous for the shoulders? This was one of my staples. Okay. The guillotine press, when you're doing it, the bar is kind of right in line with your Adam's apple. You're going to have your arms flared, but you don't bring the bar anywhere near your Adam's apple. You're 6-8 inches above. So when I do them very controlled, but I can feel a really good amount of chest activation in the guillotine press compared to the regular bench press. So when I was at my strongest, I was doing the bench, dumbbell bench, guillotine press, push-ups. What else did I do? Machine chest press and close grip bench. That was all my program. So the guillotine press is fine as long as your goal is not to arbitrarily bring it down your Adam's apple and destroy your shoulders. Thank you. Appreciate it. And we're like a pre-workout and a basic multivitamin. I like the multivitamin. The pre-workout, we'd probably have to stay pretty agile with because Robert would probably change the formula every week.
That's not true. I could come up with something that, I've got my list of like my top 8 or 10 ingredients I want to put in a formula and with the dosages I want to put them at. It just comes down to cost effectiveness because I could make a pre-workout that costs $100 or I can make a pre-workout that costs $5. It depends. Like, are you guys going to buy the premium pre-workout or do you basically just want something like C4 as a replacement? That's kind of where it is with as far as the pre-workout. We can make it expensive. We can make it fully dosed and all that, or we can make it just like some caffeine powder with 1 or 2 other ingredients in it. It just kind of depends on how fully loaded you want to go with this formula.
If we did a pre-workout, I'd probably want to have a mid-range and a Lamborghini because, look, one of the things that frustrated me in the world of pre-workouts is you always had to keep the cost around a certain level to keep it sellable. And for me, as a consumer, do I want to spend $1 a day on a pre-workout, or am I okay spending $1.50 on a day on a pre-workout to get something that is fully dosed and really the best in the market? Well, for me, I spent $2 a day on this sucker. I'll take the $1.50 pre-workout. That's what I would want. So I really think there's a market out there for a really good one. And I would love to have both a mid-range and a Babe Ruth. Yeah.
And then let us know also, guys, in the comments section, caffeine levels. Do you want 200 milligrams, 250, 300, 350, 400? Where do you like? Where's your caffeine sweet spot? That'll help too, because those are all over the place. Like personally, me, I like 250 to 300 in my pre-workout, but some people like less. Some people like 400 plus. That's another consideration when we're formulating a pre-workout.
All right, last question, and we're jumping ship. Soy sauce, banana, nano. Hey guys, thought I'd try asking again. Actually, 2 questions. Any experience with chest and ab soreness after pull-ups? Also, can elbow pain be associated with rows pull-ups? Any compound movement has the potential to create soreness in unique areas. So not unusual. I get these sort of questions all the time. Hey, I was doing bench press and I have a lat soreness or whatever. Compound movements are very complex. And until you've built up a really good strength base, you're probably going to find some really weird soreness things. I get ab soreness after doing really heavy cable tricep extensions. So elbow pain and rows, pull-ups, yes. And if we're talking elbow tendonitis, yes. I'm a big proponent, and everybody I talk to about wearing Versa grips during all your pulling exercises. There's a good chance what you're experiencing is elbow tendonitis. I would wager 90% chance what you're talking about here is elbow tendonitis. Get Versa Grip Pros, are like $60 to last you until until you grow tired of lifting, and that will help a little bit. All right, so that's it, Robert. 2 hours and 15 minutes on a Friday. I appreciate you joining me. We're going to be here every Friday at 11 Eastern. And, to the people that make the comments about me being fat or take off my shirt, I would just like to remind you I'm training for my first 100-mile run. And I'm looking to be in my best shape. We're looking at doing it in October now. I'm looking at being in my best shape possible, 210 pounds by then. And yes, we can. Not longer comments if you're but I want to see if I can be 210 pounds shredded to the bone and running 100 miles. So stay tuned. So Robert, what are you doing on this crazy weekend down in Tejas?
After we get off of this, my pre-workout is complete. It's time to go smash legs and make myself feeble until I can't walk straight anymore. After that, go pick up Sandy from school. Go pick up the halfling from daycare. And then have a nice relaxing night at home. Tomorrow, I've got the Final Scoop podcast at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Supplement Engineer YouTube channel. After that, we are heading to Iron Wolf Distillery. They're back from their holiday break. We're going to go enjoy some bourbon, some live music, and some pizza, some hot pizza from their on-site pizza truck that they got there. And Sunday will be more of the same. Cooking breakfast, relaxing, doing meal prep, hanging out, maybe making a gingerbread house that we have some leftover from Christmas. We bought like 4 or 5 of these little kits because they were really cheap on Amazon. Which we have really cool ones. Like it's called, instead of gingerbread men, it's ninja bread men. So they've got these bunch of they're kicking and punching stuff, which is pretty awesome. And of course, bourbon, as well as Cushman just commented. Yes, very much bourbon will be a part of the frenzy as always. Enjoying some Iron Wolf bourbon tomorrow. Today, I'll probably be sipping on some Knob Creek or Evan Williams Bottled in Bond. Those are the two that I kind of keep as like an everyday bourbon.
Neil wants a swimsuit calendar. My wife's actually putting together a modeling portfolio, and we just got that one in. So that's about as racy as we're going to get. I'm doing jack. I got a run tomorrow. I'm going to be doing some client work and doing nothing. I'm working on a 1-hour workout because a lot of you right now are struggling. You have limited amount of time in the gym. And I'm putting together something that should be out this weekend, which I'm trying to have it done so you can get it done or have it structured so you can get it done in 45 minutes and still get the most bang for the buck. And as we go, Ryan just ordered the Massive Iron Insider. As soon as I get off here and urinate, I'll get you all checked in. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week, Robert, and have a great weekend.
Bye.